Here's Heather Cox.
Mike, the Skycam operators are way up here in the press box because they need a clear line of sight across the entire field. It's a two-man team that must work in perfect sync using a control pad and joysticks. It's a lot like playing a video game. So here's how it works. First, Cody, he's the pilot in charge of flying the camera. It speeds up to 30 miles per hour, end zone to end zone and sideline to sideline. There isn't a motor in the camera, so it's Cody controlling the cables that fly it around. And here's Eddie, the camera operator who controls the panning, tilting, zooming, and most importantly, the focus. One joystick positions the camera, the other focuses it. Mike, we actually have two Skycam systems in place tonight. One will be flying about 40 feet higher than the other.
Neat stuff. Cody and Eddie become the stars of the night here on our broadcast as well. Give you a little inside football tonight. It'll be fun to watch. Both teams eliminated. Tough first season for Vance Joseph, who was the defensive coordinator in Miami last year. Uncertain future here in Indy for Chuck Pagano, his 6th year as head coach. Just the first with a losing record. And if it could happen, it's happened to the Colts this season. A series of, as Chuck said, extraordinary events. Starting with Pat McAfee, their all-pro punter who retired early in the offseason, so they had to find Rigoberto Sanchez. The rookie's done a nice job, and he kicks to Devontae Booker of the Broncos. Colts at 3-10, Denver 4-9. And the Colts thrilled to be home and indoors, and not in the lake effect in Orchard Park as they were last week. No return. Broncos will start it at the 25, and let's meet their offense.
Trevor Siemian, Northwestern. Andy Janovich, Nebraska.
C.J. Anderson, Laney College.
Demarius Thomas, Georgia Tech.
Emmanuel Sanders, Southern Methodist University.
Virgil Green, Nevada.
Garrett Bowles, the University of Utah.
Max Garcia, Florida.
Matt Paradis, Boise State.
Connor McGovern, University of Missouri.
Donald Stevenson, Oklahoma.
McGovern and Stevenson new on that right side of the line, solidified that a little bit. One of the stories for the Broncos has been turnovers. Too many, but they took care of the ball well in the win over the Jets on Sunday. First pass is Siemian throwing sideline incomplete. And Emmanuel Sanders, who has been quiet of late, could not reel that in. So Siemian, Chris, he won the job originally for the 2nd consecutive year. Started the first 7 games, then was benched after week 8. We saw Osweiler, we saw Paxton Lynch. Lynch got hurt. Now Simeon's been back in the lineup the last couple.
Yeah, and he's pretty open and honest about it. This is about as tough a year as he's been associated with in football. His really down moment against the Miami Dolphins. Didn't have a good day and trying to bounce back, and a little momentum for this team.
It's one of the patented plays in this Broncos offense. The slant to Demarius Thomas. Gains about 5, and here's the Indianapolis defense.
Marcus Hunt, SMU.
Al Woods, LSU.
Jonathan Hankins, The Ohio State University.
Barkevius Mingo, LSU.
Antonio Morrison, Florida.
John Bostic, Florida.
Ball Sheard, University of Pittsburgh.
Quincy Wilson, University of Florida.
Matthias Farley, Notre Dame.
TJ Green, Sylacauga High School.
Kenny Moore, Valdosta State.
2 rookie corners, 2 second-year safeties. A lot of youth on this Colts team searching for good players. 3rd and 4, Siemian looks right and completes it to Sanders for the first down. That's out at the 38-yard line. So that'll move the chains for Emmanuel Sanders, who has not caught many in the last 4 games.
Anytime you get all this different traffic going, you can see some openings in there, and just finding a hole in the zone. We've got a lot of rookies playing on the back end here for the Indianapolis Colts tonight. Quincy Wilson and Kenny Moore will get the start at corner. Would have had another one at the nickel position, Nate Harrison, but fell and had a concussion in practice the other day, so DJ White fills in there.
C.J. Anderson runs to the left. That'll be 3 yards on that gain to the 41-yard line. As you watch the hole open to the left side for Anderson, their leading rusher. And Chris, you talked about the youth in that back end for the Colts.
Now there's Quincy Wilson. He was a 2nd-round draft pick. They really want to put him in some tough situations tonight and see how he does. There's Kenny Moore. He's only 5'9", and he's going to have to match up at times against big Demarius Thomas on the outside. They'll try to help when they can, but won't be able to always.
One tight end to each side after the motion, and a big opening up the middle for Anderson into Colts territory at the 46-yard line. It's a first down.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of extras around the line of scrimmage, and the Colts know tonight for them to be able to win this football game, they have to be able to stop C.J. Anderson. You can say anything you want about the Broncos passing game, but the Colts know tonight C.J. Anderson is their focus.
Focus in on that left guard, Max Garcia. The center, Matt Paradis, working together. Their double team cleared a path. Now they run to the right this time. It'll be no gain as the defense led by Marcus Hunt, the former Cincinnati Bengal, makes the stop, a gain of a yard.
Well, we've talked about trying to get to these safeties, and for the wide receivers of the Broncos, here's their game. They've got to come down and get this guy blocked, because the safety that is down at the line of scrimmage is the guy that ultimately isn't accounted for by anybody on that interior offensive line. So they have to try and get guys like Lattimore inside to get him blocked.
Can help us as the night goes on understand what quarterbacks are looking at, because that movement by the safety there, that's so important to what the quarterback wants to do on a play. Play action, Simeon for the crosser, intercepted. Cutting underneath, Kenny Moore's got it. He went down on his own so he can get up and run some more across the 45, and he's down at midfield. And the problem for the Broncos has been turnovers this year. Simeon's ill-advised pass turned into a Moore pick. His first, cutting underneath, and the Colts will take over at midfield. Only Cleveland, winless Cleveland, has turned it over more than Denver. That'd be 28th turnovers, second in the league. And you see what it's turned into, 15 touchdowns. And great field position for the opponents, like Brissett and the Colts here, starting from midfield as Frank Gore runs to the right for 3. Back to the interception.
Well, if you've ever played Madden before, you know how to do this, right? You're going to get this over here, and you're going to see people double teaming Demaryius Thomas coming across. So when he dropped back to right there, I said, okay, for sure he's not throwing to Thomas. yeah, he did. I'm not sure exactly why he did, or maybe you want to throw that up high over the top, but certainly not on a line and in behind. So tough start.
That's the story for this offense this year. That pass deflected at the line of scrimmage by Von Miller, and incomplete as Brissett tried to throw it out to the right. Jacoby Brissett, so they call New England, they make the deal a day before the cut down happens to 53, and Brissett comes in here. Scott Tolzien was going to be the starter because Andrew Luck was hurt, as we discussed. Tolzien starts the first game. They get crushed by the Rams. Brissett becomes the starter, and he really won people over here. He's won the respect of the locker room for a player in his second year out of North Carolina State. Here, facing 3rd and 7, and will set up the screen to Gore. 34-year-old Frank Gore still got it to the 25-yard line. First down and a gain of 22.
All right, we're just going to get Gore out in front of it and watch this offensive line get out in front. There was absolutely nobody out there. Tremendous block by Mike Person, who is filling in. He is one of 5 centers to play for the Indianapolis Colts this year. But there, the old veteran got out in front, did a nice job.
He had 36 rushes last year, the oldest player with 35 or more carries in a game in the history of the league. Obviously, a lot of running because of the snow. From the 25, Brissett. Everything covered. He buys some time. He buys T.Y. Hilton in front of Chris Harris. First down and a gain of 10. Let's meet this Indianapolis offense.
Jacoby Brissett, North Carolina State.
Frank Gore, the U.
T.Y. Hilton, FIU. Kamar Aiken, Central Florida.
Jack Doyle, Western Kentucky.
Brandon Williams, Oregon.
Anthony Costanzo, Boston College.
Jeremy Bunovich, Louisiana College.
Mike Person, Montana State.
Joe Haig, North Dakota State.
Denzel Good, Marshall University.
Marshall University, North Carolina. An offensive line been changing faces and places ever since Andrew Luck got here 5 years ago. Now it's for Brissett. Hands off to Marlon Mack, the rookie with the run. Gets about a yard or 2. Shelby Harris was in there inside in the orange for the Broncos. Gore comes back.
All right, there's Shelby Harris out there. There he goes, and He has really turned into something. Bill Kohler is the guy, the defensive line coach, and they said it almost wore him out at the beginning of the year. He couldn't get through any of the conditioning programs on that side of the ball. But now they're coming in and doing a really nice job there playing that defensive end position.
2nd and 9. Brissett, Jack Doyle, the tight end, makes the catch to the ground and seemed to survive that going to the ground. They rule it's a completion at the 7. Too shy of the first down with the man who's caught the most passes for Indy this year.
Everybody does the same thing now. You'll see Doyle coming down the field here and watch him lift the ball over the top of Marshall. It used to be everybody would try and pull the ball down, but because defensive players have gotten so good at sticking their arm up in between the arms of the guy catching the ball, now more often than not they're lifting it up above the defender.
Sets up Indianapolis with 3rd and 2. Marlon Mack is the back next to Brissett. And play clock running down. He will take a timeout.
You know, Mike, one of the things, and we see it right off the bat here for the Denver Broncos, they have to come out and switch fields automatically. You know, they get the ball at the 50-yard line, and I've been on teams where, you know, the offensive team has struggled or the defensive team has struggled, and you keep having to pass each other going on and off the field. And when the defense goes out there and the offense keeps giving up those short fields, after a while it begins to wear you down, and that quick turnaround sometimes is awfully tough on the defense, and it's been that way all season this year.
Joe Woods is the defensive coordinator retained on the staff. He was the DB coach here the last couple of years, and those are the numbers you talk about. It's not just an anomaly, their first in yards. It's run, it's pass, it's all the defensive numbers, and then the 24th in points, and they're trying to prevent a 16th touchdown after a turnover.
And it's a lonely feeling for a quarterback on that bench after it's been happening a bunch.
Brissett gonna take a first down, touchdown, Jacoby Brissett. And he and Brandon Marshall exchange holiday greetings after the 7-yard score.
Yep, you're just going to get the traditional. This is a nice read here by Jacoby Brissett. 2-man. Every quarterback in the league understands that anytime that's that coverage, the safety split, everybody else is chasing their own particular wide receiver, and if you get a crack in that defensive line, there's really nobody left. Nice read.
2 weeks from turning 45, second all-time in points scored in the NFL. Adam Vinatieri knocks through the extra point. Turnover turns into a touchdown. Jacoby Brissett on the run from 7 yards out. And number 7 gives Indy 7. Talent, all new. Welcoming guest Kevin Hart, pop star Haley Steinfeld as well. Tonight's show starring Jimmy Fallon after your late local news tonight on NBC. Chilly second week of December here in Indianapolis. All the holiday lights throughout this awesome downtown. Always love coming here. Devontae Booker will take a knee. And this drive will start again at the 25. Thursday Night Football brought to you by Walmart. Rock this Christmas with Walmart. It's been a rocky season for Trevor Siemian. The 3-1 start, the 1 loss, a bad number, but the passer rating was real good. Then the bye week, and things start to fall apart for this team. More mistakes by Siemian, then benched after week 8. He came back after Paxton Lynch was hurt. Week 13 against Miami, awful game in that start. Bounced back against the Jets, and it was mistake-free. There's been a coordinator change. They've tried to be more conservative with the play calling. But you saw the not pretty pick thrown on the last drive. And C.J. Anderson is limited to a half yard on that first down run. Yeah. This is the question for John Elway as he tries to put the pieces together for this Bronco team that, as you said in the open, Chris, still has that good defense. Got to get better quarterback play. Paxton Lynch, they hope to get him back in practice here next week. Love to see him for a couple of games before the season starts.
I'm sure they would, but you just have to wonder, they won a Super Bowl going out and getting a veteran quarterback in Peyton Manning. Would they do it again?
Emmanuel Sanders gains 5 on that one, out at the 30-yard line to set up 3rd and 5.
You know, Emmanuel Sanders is one of the top receivers in the league, made the Pro Bowl a few times, 1,000-yard seasons, and yet here of late, he has just basically disappeared. Had an ankle injury, missed a couple of games, weeks 7 and 8. But boy, they could sure use him to make a few plays and add a little balance to this passing game.
8 catches in his last 4 games coming into tonight. Well, couldn't hold it. Sanders cost him 5 there.
False start, offense number 10. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Terry McCauley in charge of the game tonight.
Well, that's kind of the way it goes, isn't it? When you're having one of those kinds of seasons, and anybody who's played any at all, there is maybe the hope of the future Paxton Lynch, but he has to stay healthy. You know, I mean, for quarterbacks, especially ones that are getting paid all the money, availability is the most important ability, as they say.
Colts showing pressure. They rush 3, drop 8. Simeon throwing back to Sanders, who's got it into Colts territory. They're going to rule him down by contact at the 49-yard line.
Can't cover it much better, but this throw absolutely perfect by Trevor Simeon. You see Kenny Moore out there, but it was a great job by Sanders maintaining plenty of field. So many times we see wide receivers get pinned too close into the boundary. There he left Trevor Simeon plenty of field on that back shoulder to make that throw. Pretty.
Already 3 catches. We mentioned the slow numbers, or the low numbers, I should say, in the last 4 games.
57's a Mike Chip!
Didn't like what they had there, as you listen to some of the communication as well from the quarterback's view. Each offense has taken a timeout in this opening quarter. We talked about the 3 quarterbacks they have here. Of course, Peyton Manning came in after the time in Indianapolis, 2012 through 2015, playoffs, Super Bowl 50, the 45-12 record. Since then, the chair's been full, and the gondola's slowed down here a little bit. It's been a little windy and a little rocky. Drafting guys, trying to bring them in. I'd say rocky, but that would be too easy a line. 500 record, and is the answer there? Is the answer in Osweiler or Simeon or Lynch? That's what Elway has to decide in a year and an off-season, Chris, where there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks out there in the conversation, youth, and as you alluded to, experienced vets as well.
You know, there's some pretty good players out there, and one's related to the one he got last time. We'll see whether or not he's available. Eli Manning, who knows what's going to happen out in New York.
Janovich, the fullback, you saw from Skycam, a really nice block as he paved the way for Anderson to get to the 41-yard line, a couple shy of the first down.
Yeah, one of the things that John Bostic is going to watch, the inside linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, to try and get some kind of tip, is following the fullback, Andy Janovich, and he will try hard. There's Bostic right there, to take a look right there. See if he can see where Janovich is looking. Is he pointing a little bit? Is he leaning a little bit one day? He reads the offensive lineman, he reads the fullbacks.
And then Stevenson smashes him in the mouth. Bostic can't get to the edge that time, and Anderson gets the first down as CJ takes it to the 33-yard line. I mentioned Chris, a coordinator change. Mike McCoy, nothing was going right. Balls bouncing all over the place. Mike was brought in as the offensive coordinator to start the year. He was let go, and Bill Musgrave, who's done this in multiple places, took over.
Yeah, and he came over from the Raiders after the Raiders had a remarkable year with Derek Carr, and he was let go. We could have more discussions on that on Sunday Night Football as we go, but he's come in here, really simplified things, try to make it a lot easier, run the football a little more, take some pressure off of Trevor Simeon, let the defense win.
Play action from the 33. Simeon scan the right, nothing there. Runs to his left and just tries to get a no gain as opposed to a pick. Jonathan Hankins was pursuing, and the fifth-year man out of Ohio State tripped him up.
Yeah, and after you throw that interception that he threw, come out here, take a look. He really has one receiver, then that traditional crossing route coming over. Nothing there, and for Trevor Simeon, he has been pretty disciplined, not making that big mistake, or at least as long as Bill Musgrave's around.
Devontae Booker is in. That time the fullback Janovich and company couldn't get there for a block. And just a gain of about 3 yards to the 30. Chuck Pagano's team will face 3rd and long, trying to stop him.
Chuck Pagano's faced a lot tougher things in his lifetime than what's happened to his team this season, but there aren't many teams that could survive not having Andrew Luck, their starting quarterback, their most valuable player, anywhere close to this football team during the offseason, camp, or the season.
Faced that battle with leukemia in 2012. Chuck Strong was the rallying cry. Great to see him healthy. Simeon to throw. The crosser is Thomas. Demaryius Thomas in the red zone. First and goal for the Broncos. Right around the 6-yard line. Pickup of 24 in front of the rookie corner, Quincy Wilson.
Veteran move right here by Demaryius Thomas. Watch the way he runs this route. In, then up, and then across. You got to set up that man coverage guy to make him think you're going up the field, and that's what created the separation there. Nicely done. And you can just feel that Demaryius Thomas, as of late, is just starting to get a feel once again. He had a slow start to the season, but he has really come on lately. Very good game last week.
8 receptions, a touchdown against the Jets. Sanders in motion. He was covered, so Simeon's just going to have to get rid of this. Got out of the tackle box and sent it to the front row. Second down.
Yeah, one of the problems with this man coverage, you'll see him come across and then loop back around. They were hoping the defensive back kept running, thinking it was going to be motion across the formation. But 42, Kenny Moore saw it all the way and made a nice play.
You don't have to put
Look at those eyes. What are they doing? What am I going to do? Stick with the play? Yes, he will. Second and goal. Simeon, left side, incomplete. Thomas was over there battling, and you said Quincy Wilson's going to get tested tonight. Good man coverage against a good play.
Well, you want to test Quincy Wilson, find out what your second-round pick has? How about Demaryius Thomas? Pretty good. Had him pinned right into the boundary, a little physical, but not overly done. Got his head around. They are looking for whoever that next might be on the outside.
They got Wilson, their first-round pick. Malik Hooker was injured. They liked what they saw from the safety first part of the season. Boy, red zone has been tough for the Broncos since the start of the season. Can they cash in on third and goal? Simeon pursued. Shot down by Barkevius Mingo. Off the edge, comes up with the sack, and will force a field goal. And Simeon may have taken the worst of that hit.
Take away your number one option on the outside. They've got straight double teams on the outside against Demaryius Thomas, the safety right over the top. And it's going to force Simeon to pull the thing down, and then Barkevius Mingo, that being his first sack of the season. Nicely done.
Yeah, the first sack since 2014 for Mingo. At 5 as a rookie, 2 in his second year, none since former 6th overall pick. Broncos are a man shy, so they're running out one for Brandon McManus's field goal attempt, and they're just going to take the delay of game here, push him back 5. Connor McGovern, the starting right guard, was the player who ran back out there. And they're looking at Simeon as he got chopped by Mingo. Let's look at him. So he's pointing on the bench. Yeah, you see that hand that he went to grab immediately. So Steve Antonopoulos, longtime trainer, athletic trainer over there with the rest of the medical staff. After the 5-yard penalty, McManus from 40. Riley Dixon put it down, and the season of struggle for McManus continues. That is his 8th missed field goal this year. Nothing for the Broncos. We're back and bummed to see this. They looked at Trevor Simeon during the couple of minutes on the sideline. Now they have him on the cart to get likely x-rayed. Here's what happened, Chris, on the sack by Mingo.
Watch the left elbow hit, and then that left shoulder get jammed back up into his body. Don't know the net result of that, but it's not good.
The set gets it out to Chester Rogers, the receiver. And he will take it up to the 37-yard line, a pickup of 7 yards. Brock Osweiler is the backup for Denver. As we alluded to earlier, Paxton Lynch is hopeful to be back to practice on Monday after his ankle injury. But it looks like it'll be Osweiler for the second time this year coming in to start, or to play, excuse me, for Denver.
And the emergency backup is?
I'm pretty sure it is Jordan Taylor, wide receiver. who was an emergency backup during the preseason. Gore on the run. Up the middle, Frank Gore. Flag comes in as he's down at the 43-yard line. As we are under a minute here in this first quarter.
Holding defense number 94. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
With big old Domata Peko, the veteran, in the middle.
Domata Peko has been out for a few. There you see it. Right there is the hold. And you say, why is Domata Peko, a nose tackle, holding? Well, obviously what he's trying to do is keep those linebackers free. And players like Domata Peko are loved by linebackers because they do exactly that.
It's a little assist in there. Clear path for you. Tight ends Doyle and Williams. As Brissett looks left and fires. T.Y. Hilton was open. The pass wasn't accurate. The pass is incomplete against this Denver Broncos defense.
Zach Kerr, Delaware.
Domata Peko, Samoana High School. Adam Gutsis, Georgia Tech.
Vaughn Miller, Texas A&M. Brandon Marshall, Nevada Wolfpack.
Todd Davis, Paraclete High School.
Shane Ray, Missouri.
Akeem Talib, Kansas.
Will Parks, Arizona.
Darian Stewart, South Carolina.
Chris Harris Jr., Kansas.
Harris to lead. Roby comes in and plays in the nickel. Still some terrific corners. Part of this Denver defense. If you have that backfield, you see what Brissett sees and choose right. Choose T.Y. Hilton, who lost the ball but out of bounds after he got that first down. To mark him at the 39 and move the chains with a gain of 13.
Just about as good a matchup as you can get in this league. T.Y. Hilton against Chris Harris Jr. And these two guys both lightning quick. Harris so good, many teams simply will not even throw his direction. And yet with T.Y. Hilton in the slot and all his speed and all his quickness, no fear there.
One of those good matchups. Doyle is going to lead the way. The tight end blocking, but they read it. They know it's coming. Frank Gore is stopped on that run. And Adam Gotsis' tackle will bring us to the end of the first quarter. After one, Indianapolis 7, Denver nothing. Thursday Night Football continues after these messages from your local station. Games of playoff meeting, including Sunday night. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys facing Derek Carr and the Raiders. Both teams desperately need this one. Football Night in America begins at 7 Eastern Time. Dallas and Oakland, teams that were so good in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, never met in the Super Bowl, even though there were so many opportunities. We'll see them in an important game coming up on Sunday night. Second quarter begins with a 1-yard gain for Frank Gore running to the left.
Both those teams were pretty good last year, too.
Sure were.
You know, that ended up being one of those you didn't know if maybe they were going to be in the Super Bowl a season ago. And, of course, Carr got hurt and things fell apart to some extent when they made it to the playoffs.
And depending what happens earlier on Sunday, one of those teams could be eliminated with a loss. So a lot on the line there. And you see Von Miller on the right, checking out what Jacoby Brissett has on 3rd and 10. From the Denver 38, Brissett pursued, got out of the tackle box and got rid of it. And we'll see what they'll do here. Field goal will be 56 yards. The edge of Vinatieri's range, and they're going to punt it.
Now we get a little action going. We got both inside linebackers here. So what do you have to do? You have to block down, which opens up the edge, and that's going to bring Chris Harris in there off that edge and just force Brissett out of the pocket.
Here's Rigoberto Sanchez, the rookie out of Hawaii. He lost a good, important player on this team when Pat McAfee retired. Sanchez has hopped in, done a nice job. Send it over there to the right. Try to pin him inside the 5. Taylor was interfered with. That was kick-catch interference. He's able to come back up with the ball, and he'll get 5 more there. Chris Milton, it's a little too close.
Kick-catch interference. Kicking team number 28. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
Take Denver right around the 25-yard line. We're going to see Brock Osweiler take this team over when we come back. Back here in Indianapolis, and tonight's aerial coverage is provided by Geico. Monument. We have Lucas Oil Stadium, and they continue to look at Brandon Williams on the field. He's been down for the entire time out. Williams, tight end on this team, was blocking and took a hit as he was engaged by the Denver player. They're bringing out the cart for Williams.
Yeah, DeAndre's Mount comes in and goes helmet to helmet here with Williams, and he just sort of melted backwards. And he has been down on the field since, so now at least sitting up a bit.
Yeah, that was before, and then they put him back down. He's been down since we showed that. Williams was a player who had spinal stenosis back in 2011. It was one of the reasons that his college football career was truncated. He ended up playing basketball for a year. They continue to look at him, and we'll step out for a moment. So the full medical attention being given to Brandon Williams. I mentioned his story, which is a pretty remarkable story in and of itself, that he was playing football back in 2011. Didn't play because of spinal stenosis, went to play basketball at Portland Bible College, and then ended up playing for a couple of NFL teams, including Miami, Seattle, and Carolina. So they continue to work on him, and as they do that, we'll be right back. We're back. The entire medical staff for the Colts taking all the care with Brandon Williams. I mentioned earlier that he had that condition called spinal stenosis, narrowing of the spinal column. Chip Kelly, when he was his coach at Oregon, had to tell him that he couldn't play football anymore, and it was very emotional. That's why he tried basketball, finished his degree at Oregon, and then in 2013, the parents of Williams' girlfriend at the time paid for him to have another MRI on his neck. He wanted to keep the football dream alive. Look at him one more time. And he and DeAndre's Mount on this punt protection. And that shot right there to the head, and he went down and was in some discomfort. When they did the MRI in 2013, they showed the condition had improved. He sent it to several doctors, and he wanted to keep that football dream alive, and he did. He went to Carolina, played there for a couple of years, and I mentioned he was in Miami. So that's how the path back to football happened for Williams, and we'll be right back. Of course, we saw the scene with Ryan Shazier of Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago when he was hurt in the Monday night game against Cincinnati, and all the coaches, players, medical staff, with all of their thoughts and attention to Brandon Williams, the tight end. As he'll go from the stretcher on the backboard and immobilized to the cart, and certainly to a local hospital, and the Broncos players as well, with their thoughts as well. All these medical procedures, the athletic training staffs and doctors around the league work together. They share latest information, and they have a protocol that they follow to make sure that the players are getting the best and the proper attention. Try to stabilize the players so they can give him a look. You can see his fingers moving there a little bit. Such an encouraging sign, and we hope there will be more. And now all the Colts come out.
I know for friends and families, it's tough, right? It is very tough, but understand too that they take every single precaution. And if there is even a hint of something to do with the neck, that is the procedure. It is obviously, in light of what we've seen here recently, more disturbing, but that is a standard procedure. They would do that, and it was great to see those fingers wiggling a bit. We'll get you information as soon as we possibly can.
Hospital's very close by here in downtown Indianapolis, so they'll take him there. We'll keep you updated as we hear anything. Brock Osweiler takes over as the quarterback for Denver, and to C.J. Anderson, and his first down run will only gain a couple of yards. Grover Stewart was there on the tackle. So Brock Osweiler was the second-round pick in 2012. He's been around this franchise for a while, as we know. Came back this year after all the cuts happened and was traded from Houston to Cleveland. Did start 3 weeks after Simeon wasn't playing well, and he didn't get any wins. And then Paxton Lynch came back in. And now the injury cycle circles back, and Osweiler is the quarterback of the Broncos for John Elway yet again.
44!
Jamal Charles involved in the screen game a lot. On second down, Osweiler will fire. Sideline incomplete for Cody Latimer with the coverage from rookie corner Kenny Moore. Heather Cox.
Mike, as we wait to get more information on Brandon Williams, I can update you on Trevor Siemian, who came off the field holding his left shoulder after being sacked. Now, some background. He did undergo surgery in January of this year on that same shoulder, then re-injured it in week 6. He was in the locker room, or excuse me, in the x-ray room, but was just carted off to the locker room. Mike, I will keep you updated on both players.
Okay, Heather. So Siemian out for the moment, being examined here. Williams of the Colts being examined on the way to a local hospital. 3rd and 9. And Osweiler's pass is the slant for Thomas. It's caught. But Quincy Wilson was right there. A couple shy of the first down. It'll be 3 and out for the Denver Broncos.
Well, for Brock Osweiler, it has been one strange odyssey, hasn't it? I mean, it looked like they were going to pay him in Denver to be the quarterback after a very solid year. He decides to sign with Houston, does okay down there. He won 8 games down there as a starter and shipped off to Cleveland and then basically wholesale back to Denver.
53-yard kick, Riley Dixon, and fair catch was called for by Chester Rogers. Colts will take over back to their own 14. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Lexus. Experience amazing. Frank Gore's had an amazing career. We'll try to track it with the famous scoring pylon at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a few yards away. It was number 1 for his team in rushing all those years in San Francisco, his first 2 in Indy, on his way to a 3rd here, and if he can cross that proverbial yard of bricks, he'll join Emmitt Smith, the only man in the history of the league to lead their team in rushing for 13 consecutive seasons, tied now with Walter Payton and Franco Harris. That's pretty awesome company for Frank Gore, 5th in the history of the league in rushing yards, adding to it there with a first down run of about 9.
Now, this is probably the favorite play of Frank Gore here. They just bring the wide receiver in, bring him back across the formation for a little kickoff, kick out, and then Frank Gore can pick his hole. He is one of those guys. We were talking to the Denver Broncos defenders, and almost all of them said the same thing. I can't see him slowing down. He doesn't look any different, and obviously that means he's been doing that for a long time too.
And he came over a little bit slow to the sideline, but 250 yards shy of number 4 on the all-time list, and that's Curtis Martin. His backup is the rookie Marlon Mack, who runs it for a first down to the 34-yard line. Athletic training staff is going to look at Gore here as he comes over. There were all those carries, 36 in the snow, and it was a long carry of 10 yards in that game. So it was, sorry for the pun, but tough sledding in that one for everyone. But Gore fought through it.
You couldn't even watch the tape of the game. And there were parts of that game you couldn't see the field.
1st and 10 for Brissett. Going left, and there's Ross Travis. First catch for the former basketball player at Penn State. First down for the tight end for the Colts. Gain to 20.
Ross Travis came in for exactly 2 plays in which they threw to him deep twice. He is 6'7". He is a guy that they knew well from Kansas City, waved out there. Chris Ballard had worked there, the general manager, and said, what the heck, man, I know what this guy can do. And they actually called him from Kansas City. He said, it didn't surprise us at all that you ended up claiming him.
You feel like Kansas City scouts the NCAA tournament for power forwards.
They have a bunch.
Brissett downfield for Travis, incomplete. T.Y. Hilton was involved in a collision with Aqib Talib, and Hilton is writhing in pain at the 45-yard line.
Holding defense number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And it's Talib on the flag. Let's see what happened with those two.
It's going to be just a little bit of an inside cut here by Hilton, and then they just sort of roll over each other. Look like they sort of tripped, and Talib grabbed the jersey, and Hilton grabbed his hand.
Yeah, he was grabbing at that right hand. He comes over to be looked at. Colts have lost a couple of players here the last few. Gore and Hilton, the 2 best offensive guys on the sideline for the moment. Getting word Trevor Siemian has been ruled out for the remainder of this game, as he took that injury in the first quarter. So after the penalty, it's 1st and 10, and a good look and run by Brissett. He takes it up the middle for 7. Adam Gotsis with the tackle.
There we go. The big guy is right up front here, just going to get a little movement. Looked like he was a quick pass out to the right. Brissett did not like that, and instead of scrambling right, scrambling left, he just went behind Person and Haig right up the middle.
Colts on the field. No Gore, no Hilton. It's the rookie Mack with this run. And handing it to the 36, just shy of the first down for Marlon Mack, 3-year starter at the University of South Florida. The rookies come in. This is why Gore is out.
Oh. Like a little wiggle out of that left knee, didn't it?
Darian Stewart was coming in. It's been that kind of year for Gore, for Chuck Pagano. You see Gore out, but T.Y. Hilton back in now for Indianapolis on 3rd and 1. It'll be Mack again, and he goes forward for the first down to the 34-yard line. Robert Turbin was a back who they had. He was hurt, so Max had to accelerate the process of learning, and now with Gore out, might see a lot of them here tonight.
Pretty good blocking over here on this left side. We're seeing a bunch there. There's probably their best blocking offensive lineman, Anthony Costanzo, but Jeremy Vunovich and Mike Person, who is taking over at the center position tonight. Veteran guy. He's been around multiple teams. I believe his wife and kids at home, and said, honey, I've got a lot to learn up here. So she's taking care of the 2 small kids.
The 34, Brissett. He completes it to T.Y. Hilton. He goes to the 30-yard line. Talk about all the changing centers. I mean, it's not like Jacoby Brissett knew these guys anyway. Chris, he got here right at the cut-down date, and then by week 2, hi, you're the starting quarterback.
Yeah, it has just been bizarre, but Jacoby Brissett, I mean, can you imagine what all he's been through? I mean, to come in here basically before the start of the season, played a little bit in week 1, and then essentially took over. Made a lot of mistakes, but he has been tough throughout. He has taken some shots, and he really earned the respect of everybody with the Indianapolis Colts.
Here's Mack to the right. You can see that Brandon Marshall had a read on that. Jumped in there right away. Minimize the game, set up 3rd down. You tell me, how tough is it to come in, not know the system, and boom, week 2, you're the starting quarterback?
Impossible. I mean, it's impossible. It's tough enough to come in and play wide receiver or defensive back, but think of all the calls. Think of all the things you have to do in the huddle to be able to communicate to your teammates. And it's not just a single play. A lot of times there's 2 or 3 plays that are called at the same time. If you're the quarterback, now you have to try and understand what the defense is doing against that look. No training camp. It's impossible. He's really done a nice job.
3rd and 6, first look covered, trying to take off. Shane Ray's got him, and he'll bring him down shy of the first down at the 27-yard line. Good job by Shane Ray to keep Brissett from running for another first down, and we'll have a field goal attempt coming up.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton on the outside here is just going to have a little out cut. Man coverage, keep Talib on him. And many times it is the second option for a guy who is still learning the offense to take off and run. And now we're a big few yards here to set up Adam Vinatieri.
45 yards out. He had only missed 1 before the snow fiasco in Buffalo last week. This one knuckles its way through. And another Adam Vinatieri field goal. This is the 553rd of his career. Most active player in the NFL, Adam Vinatieri. I mentioned he turns 45 in a couple of weeks. There is only one unmistakable, incredible career. Decade plus 2 different teams, the Patriots and the Colts. Only player in the history of the league to do that. Look at other sports too. Very few. A couple of Hall of Famers: Eddie Collins, Carlton Fisk, Greg Maddux. Those 3 of that 4 Hall of Famers in baseball. Some hockey stars. That hard slap shot from the point of Al McGinnis and Mark Messier. Championships in Edmonton, the guarantee, and the leadership in New York with the Rangers. It's a really small subset, not just alone in the NFL, but very few in any sport. and he continues to perform at a terrific level. Knocking on the door at 45.
I wonder if he hangs out with the coaches. It's about their age, yeah.
Exactly. Hey, let's get down to the sideline. Heather has an update for us.
I do, Mike. Official word on Colts Brandon Williams. He does have a neck injury. He was strapped onto the stretcher for precautionary measures. They want to be sure we stress that he did have movement. He has been transported to a local primary hospital, and Mike will not return tonight.
Yeah. Okay, Heather. Well, that's the news you hope to hear, and let's hope that we continue to hear positive news regarding the injury to Williams. Fourth consecutive drive, Broncos taking over their own 25. Osweiler for the injured Simeon fires to Thomas. You could see how small the window was to drop it in. He did, but there's a marker down. If it holds up, it's a gain of 22.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 31. Penalties decline, first down.
And they'll move the chains. Nice throw.
Well, you want to work against leverage sometimes. So if you want to break out, start in, because the defensive back is thinking you're going the other way. And that time when Wilson saw Demaryius Thomas breaking to the out, he just grabbed hold, but you called it. That was a shot from Brock Osweiler.
Now Anderson runs up the middle. First down gain of a dozen for CJ. Darius Butler, the veteran in the game, with the tackle.
Tell you, one of the things they've been impressed with has been Connor McGovern, who has taken over at that right guard position for Ron Leary. Watch him just completely wash down the defensive tackle on that one.
The 41, Osweiler keeps it. It's not going to fool many. Not going to go anywhere. Loss of a couple of yards. Chris, you mentioned it, the odyssey of Brock Osweiler. I've been everywhere. The draft pick in the second round, there he is, the apprentice to Peyton Manning. And when Manning gets hurt, he comes in, he leads 5 regular season wins. Then he doesn't sign here. He goes to Houston for all that money. That doesn't work out. And he's traded to Cleveland.
His contract was traded to Cleveland.
Exactly right. All the money.
What it was.
Perfect. And then they let him go, and here he is back in Denver. They're not paying a lot of the freight this year. Low pass pulled in by Thomas, gain of 9, one shy of the first down.
Yeah, where they're just matching up on the outside, and Demaryius Thomas having a nice game so far. And you think at some point, are the Colts going to give those cornerbacks some help? And the bizarre part about this time of year, if you have a losing record and you're out of it, you're starting to evaluate guys. So they're taking a look at 31 Quincy Wilson. Let's see what he has. They're not going to back off.
3rd and 1. Janovich, the fullback, on the inside, will not get there. He had a touchdown last week against the Jets, just his 6th run of the year. 3rd and 1 turns into 4th and 2.
There we go, Jonathan Hankins. Watch him just overpower this offensive line back in. Max Garcia just had the wrong angle, and Hankins was not to be stopped. You know, this is an offensive line now that really, this is a long 4th down here.
4th and 2, they're going to go for it with 4 receivers. Colts show pressure. They bring 5. Osweiler got rid of it for Emmanuel Sanders, and the mark will give Denver a 4th down conversion.
Well, you're going to get the pick play coming out here to your right, and DJ White is the guy that has basically had to take over for the injured Nate Hairston, and you just wonder how much experience he has on these 3rd and 4th down pick plays to be able to see that.
None.
That'd be about right.
His first action on defense, he was waived earlier this year by Kansas City, signed with the Colts a month ago. Play pass, Osweiler looking left, the flag's down. He's got the open receiver, Devontae Booker with the hurdle, the sideline, and the touchdown. A terrific athletic play. It looked really good.
Holding, offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Garrett Bowles, the first-round pick of the Broncos, the rookie, called for holding.
No question. There's the hook, there's the hold, there's the throw down, and what a shame. This one goes on your highlight reel no matter what. Right over the top of Clayton Gathers without breaking stride.
That was pretty looking.
Now, it's going to come as a total shock to you, but I never did that.
Really? You didn't?
No.
Did you ever try it?
No.
You talk about generational things, and guys didn't try that back in your day.
We didn't know any better. You didn't even think about it. But guys now, they go in for that cut tackle, and it started with tight ends, but now it seems like everybody's doing it.
Penalty erases it, 1st and 20. Osweiler throws that cannon of an arm and throws it out to Sanders, but not much there. Matthias Farley over there on the tackle. Well, we have a Saturday games this week on NFL Network, a doubleheader, Bears and Lions in Detroit at 4:30 Eastern. Lions still alive in the NFC wildcard chase, and the Chargers and Chiefs play for the AFC West Division Lead. Doubleheader on NFL Network starting at 4:30 Eastern Time.
Fly out as soon as we say goodnight tonight, right?
That's right.
Meetings in the morning?
We meet with Jim Caldwell in 11 and a half hours.
There you go.
Go check out the Lions. Get ready. Kurt Warner will join us on the broadcast Saturday. Osweiler, crosser, Sanders brought it in. Inside the 20, they'll give him a first down at the 19-yard line. Pick up 17.
Here's the other matchup, and this seems to be what they're going to do now. They're going to leave Sanders, who is a little smaller, on Kenny Moore, who is a little smaller, and then Quincy Wilson on the other side against Demaryius Thomas. But I don't know what Brock Osweiler had for breakfast this morning, but chunking it tonight. Sharp, ready to roll.
2-minute warning here in Indianapolis. And McHugh, Tony Dungy, and Rodney Harrison here. Only one of their names is up in the Colts Ring of Honor. They'll have the Lexus halftime report. Talk about this first half and the look ahead to Sunday Night Football, Cowboys, Raiders. Of course, Pats, Steelers. This week, a lot of big matchups. Guys will get you set coming up at the half. C.J. Anderson with his first down carry. Minimal game. Jonathan Hankins been in there a couple of times. Just want to update you here on Brandon Williams that we saw his injury before. It was a head injury, not a neck injury. We gave you the history of his medical, but the Colts telling us it is a head injury that he suffered here at the start of this second quarter, and we got the report of movement and feeling, so that positive news certainly in what looked to be a very difficult situation for the Colts backup tight end. 2nd and 9, Osweiler's pass is incomplete for the Denver tight end, Virgil Green, and will bring up 3rd down with 1:26 to go.
Well, the one thing that we have seen tonight out of this defensive line of the Indianapolis Colts is this sort of cobbled together bunch with a lot of free agents has done okay. Jonathan Hankins, he comes over from the Giants, and Al Woods from the Titans, and Marcus Hunt coming over from the Bengals. Even Bostic's had a bit of an odyssey coming over from Detroit, among other places. So they've just sort of pieced together a defense this season.
3rd and 9, only 2 players. Thomas and Sanders have caught passes tonight. Taking off, Osweiler got the first down. Osweiler, touchdown!
Let's go!
Good for you, Brock Osweiler. 18 yards on the scramble score.
All right, you remember how Jacoby Brissett scored against 2 men? One there, man. So watch it. It's going to go right like that. And I think Brock Osweiler could have been diving from the 10-yard line and made it as big as he is. And we got quarterbacks running everywhere here on Thursday Night Football, jumping over people. All is good.
Extra point added by McManus. Got to feel good for Osweiler, too. You know, a guy who's been all around. We showed you the journey. Came in for 3 games, lost them all, benched. Yeah, go take that dive in the end zone. 10-7. The sliding center in Pyeongchang as we get closer to the Winter Olympics 8 weeks from tonight. It begins. The world's best athletes, the world's biggest stage. The Winter Olympics coming February to the networks of NBC Universal.
So what's it like over there? You've been there already.
It's pretty cool. We were there at the sliding center last month when there was a test event going on for luge, and all the athletes were there and trying it out. And they're trying the curves. Turns 9 through 12 there are a little dicey in the sliding center.
Wouldn't matter to me.
I snuck that in somewhere between the Bears and the Lions this week.
There you go.
Touchback. Colts will take over 25. All right, what do you see from Jacoby Brissett in this first half, Chris?
You know, you knew I liked him. He has a pretty pure motion. Watch this, 0.33 release time. That is right down there with the best of the best. He's a big, strong guy. We've already seen him run one in for a touchdown. Tough guy. little training over the years by a pretty good quarterback himself, and Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Does some of the mannerisms, the patting the ball, the taking the two-step drop. So there's quite a few things that we've seen out of Brissett. Looks like Tom Brady.
It's even a 2 minutes earlier from 25. He's getting out of the pocket and rolling through it at the feet of Marlon Mack. They were trying to get that set up to the right. And incomplete. You think about the preseason with the Patriots. You've got Osweiler, who's sitting over there on the sideline. You've got Brissett. And then, of course, you have Jimmy Garoppolo. And now they're both starting quarterbacks. Garoppolo's off to a nice start with San Francisco. And here's Brissett. They want to get Andrew Luck back. We'll talk about Luck in the second half and hope that he's healthy. But Brissett has proven that at best you've got a solid backup, and who knows what's going to happen in the future with this young man.
And they've been close in a lot of games. They've just been able to get over the top.
See Brissett's throw complete to T.Y. Hilton, who's back in the game. And let's see Frank Gore come back. It's 4 shy of the first down, and Denver will take a timeout with 68 seconds until halftime.
Yeah, that's one of the negatives of trying to go no huddle. A lot of times you'll come out and go, okay, if we get a first down, but you certainly don't want to give it back to the Denver Broncos in this circumstance. And I tell you, it's interesting. You wonder how many times this year that Vance Joseph would have called that timeout.
Right.
You know, how much confidence did he have? But he's been out there watching Brock Osweiler slinging around and guys jumping over people, and why not? Let's go give this a shot. Plus a little confidence in his defense to make a stop.
Drew Esikoff, our great director, just showed Von Miller there on the field. Von Miller has 10 sacks, but it doesn't feel like the impact of 10 sacks with 3 games left like it has in other seasons.
Yeah, when you're playing from behind, you're not getting a lot of opportunities to go get the quarterback.
3rd and 4, bunch to the right. Brissett's waiting for somebody to break open. They're not. He's going to go run for it, and not going to get there. Out of bounds, it stops the clock as well, and Indianapolis will kick to Denver with a minute left. There's Von Miller over there with Talib.
That was some play by Aqib Talib. He was in coverage right over here. He's going to end up about there. Brissett's going to get a heck of a head start on him, and then watch Talib just run him down. Here's some of the speed of Talib, and one of the reasons he has all those pick sixes in his career. 10 of them.
And Von Miller, man, he was working out there too. Rigoberto Sanchez kicked it 46. Jordan Taylor, fair catch at the 21. It's where Denver will take over with 53 seconds left. Some golf this weekend. Fathers and sons playing golf. Nothing like it. Rance Nick Faldo, his son Matthew. They're going to play in the PNC Father-Son Challenge. You'll see it on Golf Channel early on Saturday and then on NBC at 4 Eastern Time. Faldo, Trevino, John. Have you ever seen John Daly's kid play, little John Daly? Oh, and the kid can go now, and he's got a little attitude like his dad, too.
I wonder how you got that. I bet you my son and I could double their score.
Who are you taking, Jack or Austin? who wants to sign up to play with you? That's the question, right?
Like one of my girls.
Fun stuff this weekend here on NBC. Osweiler shot down the field for Sanders. Incomplete. And Skycam showed you the safety, Darius Butler, coming all the way over to help on the coverage.
You're going to throw it down the boundary right here. That center fielder is going to go get it. So that's the reason you see quarterbacks. They want to look off that safety, and that one was just one big collision on the back end. You saw Darius Butler there to make the play, and Kenny Moore there as well.
It's human bumper cars.
It's so hard to imagine how fast those guys can get from the middle of the field to that boundary. Just tremendous speed on this field. These fields almost aren't big enough anymore.
25-yard run, 53 yards across. He's running from between the hashes to the sideline. Osweiler looking for something open. He has Devontae Booker. Made a man miss, and Booker gets the first down as Matthias Farley couldn't make the tackle on the sideline. First down, Denver.
Boy, Devontae Booker hasn't played a whole lot so far, but he's been putting on a show. He's been jumping over and around and through, and there's Matthias Farley. He's the guy that, I tell you, has made such an impression on this coaching staff. Who would have ever thought Matthias Farley would have been their most consistent player this year, but maybe he and Jabal Sheard right at the top of the list.
Undrafted out of Notre Dame. Osweiler on the move again. Flag is down. He benches it as he was pursued by Barkevius Mingo. This will push Denver back with 34 seconds left.
Holding offense number 71. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Donald Stevenson over there at right tackle, starting his third game. He's replaced Alan Barber in the lineup.
Tell you what, that Barkevius Mingo can fly. We go on the outside. There's Stevenson right there. Mingo is going to come from the other side to end up making that play. So there's a hole, but watch how far away Barkevius Mingo had to go. Already one sack on the night, and he was flying.
Bringing some heat, three-man rush here. Anderson runs inside, or rather Booker should say, get some of the penalty yardage back. +1 and a timeout taken by Denver with 26 seconds left till the half.
You know, it's interesting, Devontae Booker, who's looked so good here tonight in this first half, is a guy that they thought really might end up winning this job coming out of camp. He is impressive as a receiver, but of course it turned into C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles doing a little bit more of that work. C.J. Anderson, that big, thick kind of runner from the waist down, sort of like tackling a pyramid or something, you know? I mean, just
that's good.
You don't know exactly where to hit it, you know? You hit it on the thickest part down there, or you hit it up high. And
it's fun to watch tonight. Quincy Wilson and Kenny Moore, the rookie corners, getting tested. You can see the numbers thrown at 7 times each. 6 hits on Wilson, 3 connections thrown towards Moore.
It's like a zone defense here instead of man.
See what Osweiler sees on 2nd and 10. Players running with him to that side, but he's escorted to the sideline by DJ White, the defensive back. So we'll bring up 3rd down for Denver with 19 seconds left.
You know, so many times when we get to these Thursday night games, there aren't enough days to game plan and really get ready. And so if there was ever a game that a backup quarterback could come in and feel relatively comfortable, it's not like he missed the whole week of game planning. He knows the offense. He knows the plays that he likes. The coaches know the plays that he likes. Let's just go do it.
19 seconds, no timeouts for Osweiler. And he gets rid of it incomplete. Try to hit it to Thomas downfield. And with 13 left, Denver will kick it away.
Not exactly sure what happened to Donald Stevenson here. Sheard's going to come off the edge, and it almost looks like Stevenson looked back inside. Jamal Sheard is their leading sacker with 4.5, so I'm sure Brock Osweiler would greatly prefer you pay attention to him.
Chester Rogers back. If anybody's comfortable in these uniforms, it's Riley Dixon. Went to Syracuse, the orange.
Somehow I knew.
Going to work it in somehow, some way. Flag down as Dixon kicked it. Rogers caught it at the 11. Trying to get over to some blocking to his left, but it was well pursued by Jordan Taylor, the opposite return man. The Broncos return man. 2 seconds left. Let's check the flag. Terry McCauley's worked 3 Super Bowls. Moves the game along quick.
Illegal formation, offense number 42. 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
Yeah, I agree with that call. Going to end up now, you make them go punt that thing one more time. Just watch the long snapper right here.
Interesting how he gets called for the illegal formation. There, we talked about this, and we had this last week where the players' helmets on the rest of the line have to cross the belt line of the center. So illegal formation there. So Pagano takes the penalty, pushes it back 5, and Denver brings the offense out with 2 seconds left instead of punting it again.
Yeah, they're not even going to do it now. You got 2 seconds to burn off, right?
Pagano's going to take a timeout to make sure he's got everybody all straightened out, get the right players on the field. Some of the defensive players thought that they were done for the half. I think Denver was just going to hand it off, run the 2 seconds, and get out of here for this first half.
Yeah, but there might have been a few guys out there that were on the punt return team.
Yeah,
and you didn't want playing defense in that moment.
These 2 of the 8 teams that are eliminated, 24 still in contention for Feb 4 and Super Bowl 52 here on NBC. Had a Super Bowl here. was a terrific game and a terrific hosting job, too, by this city.
Oh, my gosh. A lot of people think that this was, for the fans that actually showed up, was the most enjoyable Super Bowl experience because everything was right in a 6-block area here.
Kill a couple of seconds here to make sure that you don't give him the ball back with one in a field goal attempt. Osweiler hurt his stats, but that's okay. He's got a rushing touchdown this half, so he's happy. 10-7 Colts at the break. The Lexus halftime report with Liam McHugh. Tony Dungy and Rodney Harrison will continue from the Circle City on Thursday Night Football.
I don't know what you've been told, but football make you lose control.
Play action, Simeon for the crosser, intercepted. Kenny Moore's got it. Brissett gonna take a first down, touchdown. Simeon pursued, shot down by Mingo. Trevor Simeon has been ruled out. Osweiler got the first down. Osweiler, touchdown.
Let's go!
And we go to half number 2 here at Lucas Oil Stadium, 10-7. Indianapolis on top of Denver to start Week 15 of this NFL season. Get you caught up. The buzz from the first half. Osweiler replaces the injured Simeon, the rushing touchdown. Same numbers in terms of completions and attempts as Jacoby Brissett, so very similar numbers for both quarterbacks. Emmanuel Sanders, quiet as we mentioned over the last 4 games, just 54 receiving yards, 62 in that first half, including a 26-yarder. Von Miller, 3 pressures on the 15 pass rush snaps he was out there. Did have a good play pursuing Brissett across the field to stop a third down. Probably the best player on the field for either team. Sanders getting that left ankle addressed as we get set for this third quarter, and Indianapolis will get the ball first to start. Okay, both of these teams eliminated. Denver had lost 8 in a row before beating the Jets 23-0 last week. Indy's trying to snap a 4-game slide as we go down to Heather Cox.
Mike, an update from Chuck Pagano on Brandon Williams. He does remain at the local primary hospital. He is alert and responsive, and according to Coach Pagano, in good spirits with that head injury, and that it is precautionary that he remains at the hospital. Now an update for you on their running back Frank Gore, who did leave the game in the second quarter with a left knee and quad problem. He is back on the field and will play for the Colts in the second half. Mike?
Okay, Heather, we'll keep an eye on him. You saw the top line there of the Trevor Simeon injury, but so glad we've continued to get good news after Brandon Williams was injured a minute into that second quarter. So Gore is back. And he'll take the first carry of this second half and move forward for about 3 yards.
Well, anytime you play against the Denver Broncos, you can't let Von Miller wreck the game. And so far, Denzel Good has been hanging in there. 3 pressures, as you talked about, 1 batted pass. But against some players, you go, that's not such a good half. Against this guy, that's almost brilliant, you know? And so Von Miller, who not only is known as the pass rusher extraordinaire and a guy that can disrupt so many things, but so far Denzel Good, he's been pretty good.
You think everybody at home heard me look at you?
No, they all said stop.
Second and 8, Brissett getting hit, but he finds Jack Doyle 3 shy of the first down. Brandon Marshall, the linebacker, starting the tackle, along with Will Parks, who got the start at safety tonight. Justin Simmons for Denver went on injured reserve. I mentioned it before. Things have happened to this team, and Simmons got hurt celebrating last week. That's why he's out of this game.
Yeah. We have all kinds of good pass rushers, don't we, along the line for the Denver Broncos. Shane Ray coming back from that wrist injury early on. Shaquille Barrett with a nice move on that last one. We talked about Von Miller. It's a team that's really built to win with this defensive team. Just haven't had enough offense all year.
Illinois! Hurry, go!
Jump on the snap with Miller. He was offside. Doyle's got the first down. Jack Doyle took it to the 46-yard line. Chris always talks about the defensive players watch that play clock too.
Defense number 58. Penalties decline. First down.
That was interesting. Brissett kept screaming, hurry, 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 and I think that's what Von Miller did. Here I'm a hurry, 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 but that was great by Brissett, don't you think? To not panic. I mean, Von Miller had a clean shot at him. He caught it, got out of there, had nothing to lose. Why not?
15-yard gain. You get a few of those when you get all those sacks like Von Miller's had the first 101 games of his career.
They call it a tax on sacks.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Pay a couple of those to get a couple of the big knockdowns. On cue, Von Miller. They got it out. They say Brissett got it out before he was hit down by Miller, and it's ruled an incomplete pass.
Yeah, this time it was attacks on quarterbacks. Watch this bull rush right through Denzel Good. He comes right down center field here, gets those arms extended, and somehow Brissett got that thing out of his hands. Boy, Von Miller is one of those guys, and I know not everybody gets a chance to watch all the game film and all that stuff. As great a pass rusher as he is, watching him play the run and setting the edge on that side of the ball week after week, he's amazing. He's just a great player.
Good came out of the game. LaRaven Clark came in. Frank Gore's not going anywhere on that run. Minimal gain, 3rd down and long coming up.
You know who's making plays inside there is Will Parks. This little sucker, I tell you, he just keeps coming in. He's getting to play a little bit more now because of Justin Simmons, but you will just see him sort of, I think that's him right there, just sort of weaving his way in there through all those big guys. He's a safety that's usually playing back in center field. I just really enjoy watching the way that he plays defense.
Third and 10, they rush 4. Miller had some help that time. Gore, good job in the open field. Did he get to the first down mark? He had to get to the 43, and he did. Almost like reaching the plane, get to the front of the 43-yard line. His forward progress did move the chains. First down, Indianapolis.
Well, it's not very often that you see this defense come up and chase here, which left a little void in there. But everybody just sort of sits back at that first down marker typically. But that time, Brandon Marshall and Aqib Talib had their backs turned and just weren't able to flip around and make the play.
And now it's Marlon Mack in there for Gore for a couple of yards. Well, he talked about what Von Miller does and how he does it so well. Talk about pressures that quarterbacks have faced since 2011. J.J. Watt, Cameron Wake are in there 3rd and 2nd. But since he came in the league as the number 2 pick in 2011, Von Miller's the pressure man. 487 sacks or hits or hurries. And 5 times a game, he's done it 51 times, both at the top of the league.
Amazing. And he just made the run stop there.
He's working on Joe Haig, 73, trying to drive him back. He gets away, but Brissett finds Ross Travis again. 2nd catch for the former basketball player. First down to the 28-yard line.
There's Von Miller against Joe Haig, who now kicks out from the guard position. Nicely done there. And Brissett, if you've seen him at all this year, he loves to scramble right. That's his favorite way to go. And now we have Ross Travis, who's becoming a little bit of a story here, Mike. Now, I've seen this enough to know. I was watching him in practice the other day. He is a big drink of water. He runs 4.6, 6.7. That's a weapon. That's somebody that they're going to keep finding ways to get him the ball.
There he is out on the edge there. Brissett looked that way. He'll come back to check down on that side. Gore again. Of course, to the 24-yard line. First down pickup of about 4 yards.
They could have gotten that thing to Ross Travis. I think that's a learned skill for Jacoby Brissett. Got a guy 6'7". I know you did him in a basketball game, right? You showed me the boards from last time you called a game with him. He was playing basketball. But 6'7", you get to do some of that. Let's throw it above the rim and go play high, right?
So his open is a different open because he's 6'7". His catch radius is different than some other guys. He played basketball at Penn State for 3 years, was their leading rebounder. Gore, shy of the 20, he's 3rd in a couple coming up. Doing the Big Ten basketball tournament for a few years. 1 year in Chicago, his senior year, and then his junior year in Indianapolis, he was playing. He's a kid from Chaska, Minnesota. Grew up as a basketball player, could play from point guard to center. And like we said, Kansas City has done it a couple of times with a few different players. He was in their camp. And Chris Ballard, who's the general manager, has to rework this Colts franchise because they're depleted with talent here on their 53-man roster. Gets him from Kansas City, plugs him in here, and now he is blossoming a little bit. 3rd and 3 for Brissett. In traffic, incomplete. Trying to find Chester Rogers underneath, but the converging coverage with Darian Stewart, who's going to bring up a field goal opportunity.
Whoa, that was an almoster. Watch this little creeping safety come down into the lurk position, and Brissett never saw him. That lurk guy can be just so dangerous, so hard as a quarterback. You're looking at your receiver left, and you just never see that.
From 39, Vinatieri. Adam Vinatieri curves it in, not as much as the one he had to hit in the snow and the wind in Orchard Park. But he hooks in 3 more, and the Colts lead by 6. Network, a special on Saturday. 2 games for you. Lions and Bears renew their long rivalry at Ford Field, downtown Detroit. And then, big one in the AFC West for the division lead. Phillip Rivers red hot. Los Angeles Chargers take on Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs. All coming up. NFL Network, 4:30 Eastern Time, doubleheader on Saturday. The first kick return of the night, Devontae Booker will bring it out, and Booker will be tackled at 21-yard line. Drive will start there. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Well, Mike, Adam Vinatieri has a clause in his contract. If he makes at least 90% of his field goals this season, he earns a $500,000 bonus. Well, he was over 95% before Sunday's game in the snow. He went 0 for 2. So to get back to 90%, he has to go at least 5 for 5 in the next 3 games. Tonight, he's 2 for 2, so just 3 to go. And yesterday, Vinatieri joked with me saying, yeah, maybe in that final game, if I need 1 more, I'll probably be looking down the sideline trying to convince Pagano to kick it. Maybe throw a little wink his way.
Don't bet against him. C.J. Anderson the carry for 7 yards. He's 75 points shy of Morton Anderson for the all-time record. I was talking to him on the field before the game, Chris. He said, my leg feels pretty good. They've got Sanchez here, the punter, who kicks off, so it allows you to keep Vinatieri. He doesn't have to do the kickoffs, and he said he wants to keep rolling. So Broncos are rolling now. No huddle. Flea flicker. Osweiler's got coming across the field. Cody Latimer, former Indiana Hoosier, back in the state to the 45-yard line. First down and a gain of 18.
This is where you have to be a little bit of an actor coming out here. There's Latimer, just easy, and then you jet across the field here as this thing takes place. You know, it was so interesting. We got a chance to talk to Brock Osweiler earlier in the season, and he was so excited to be back in Denver. He said, I told John Elway I played for free and served the Gatorade. Well, he's getting to do a little bit more than that right now.
First and 10. Look at that throw. With a flag down because of the hand fighting intended for Benny Fowler. Quincy Wilson getting tested, the second-round rookie. And you saw the flag fly in.
Pass interference. Offense number 16. 10-yard penalty. First down.
I tell you have to admire officials who can make these calls. There was a little push-off. That was the correct call. He gave it the open hand, the complete push-off. But so many of these games now come down to pass interference calls, and which way are they going to go? And it's not like they can go to replay. Whatever it is they see on the field from one angle while they're running backwards, that's it.
33! 33!
First and 20. It will be Devontae Booker with a good hole opening to get him to the 47-yard line.
I tell you, this Connor McGovern has been just wiping it down on his side of the ball. They may have found a little something in there. Ron Leary's done a great job for him in the right guard position. He's out now with that back injury. But Connor McGovern, when they say block down, he blocks down.
Jeremiah George, backup linebacker, injured for the Colts.
Right there. Watch him just wipe out that whole side over there. On the backside, Stevenson with a good block, but and then we have seen Devontae Booker say, I can run through a hole like that. They were impressed. Connor McGovern, I think, his first game back had to play against Ndamukong Suh, and that didn't go so well, but since then he's made a pretty good impression.
I talked to John Elway on the field before the game, and he said, we're trying to win games here. And fans get frustrated. They want you to lose these games, get a higher pick. He said, we're trying to win games, and we're trying to evaluate players, and it's a great opportunity to watch a guy like McGovern, a 5th-round pick last year. Do you have what it takes? Do we have another guard here? Osweiler's arm looks really good here. Sanders on the sideline. got the feet down with the catch to the Colts side. The 47 brings up 3rd and 2.
Yeah, one of the other things Brock Osweiler was telling us was that, when you go to Houston and you go to Cleveland and then they ship you back, and basically it's like nobody wants you. He said there was a real fire that was lit in my belly. It was like the minute the plane landed in Denver, I just felt different. I felt inspired to be back with my original group. And now he's getting a chance to prove it.
Saw it in the huddle right there, too. Booker, not going to get there. Only a yard for Devontae Booker. Jonathan Hankins, we've called his name several times. Former 2nd-round pick of the Giants. One of the additions to bolster this roster this year on defense.
There we go. It's Jonathan Hankins, and of course you know him. He was a big stud on that defensive line. It's so funny for me, Mike, to watch this Colts defense that was forever built around their pass rushers on the outside, and now they're much stronger stopping the run with the interior than they are rushing the passer.
It is odd. 23rd against the run this year. 4th and a long yard. Empty the backfield. Osweiler's got to find someone. Contact to the flat. As Demaryius Thomas was taken down, that continuing battle with Quincy Wilson, won this time by the Broncos.
Holding, defense number 44. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Antonio Morrison was called there. Either way, first down for Denver.
Yeah, it definitely was not 44. 44, Antonio Morrison never got close to anybody.
He's at the scene of the crime at the end.
Yeah, believe me, if he held somebody, he's got really long arms. I think it was 31 Quincy Wilson.
It was. They just looked up and he was the guy at the flag. So
Spider-Man.
C.J. Anderson to the left. Gain of about 5 yards. You see Paradis there and that battle. Paradis loses his helmet, 61 the center. Those are the things that, as you're watching a little more of the game from Skycam, Chris, it's an appreciation for the grinders in the league and the guys who we don't see play in, play out, and what they have to do every play.
Well, and oh man, there's one of our guys, John Bostic, we got a chance to talk with.
Linebacker down for a moment, injury timeout. Well, this place is referred to by the locals as the house that Peyton built, and there is the statue that went up this year for Peyton Manning. Of course, setting milestones and winning games, both of these franchises. December of 2004, that was touchdown pass 49. Broke the record of 48 that Dan Marino had for so long. And then Peyton breaking the all-time touchdown record as a member of the Broncos on that Sunday night, number 509. Of course, his name all over the record books in the lore of these two franchises forever. Great Peyton Manning. C.J. Anderson on a flag down, running to the right for the 28-yard line. He got the first down. Looked like the Colts were in the neutral zone.
Defense number 95. Penalties decline. First down.
Jonathan Hankins. Of course, that Peyton Manning record, it was 49 touchdowns. Then Brady had the 50 season. Then Manning re-breaks it with the 55. I love that ring of honor over there. You got a bunch of Colts around, but Peyton Manning's name is alone at that end zone.
Alone for two different teams, isn't it? I cannot help but think a little bit about Peyton Manning ended his career going to another team and winning another Super Bowl, right?
To Denver.
And you just wonder, with what Eli went through this year, what might happen with him this coming year.
C.J. Anderson on the run to the left. Did good work to get to the 21-yard line. A couple shy of the first down. You saw John Bostic on the sideline between the plays there. He was shaken up on that last run before we took a break. He was rolled up on.
Starting to work the edges a little bit and getting those wide receivers involved, cracking back on some of the safeties on the inside now. I'll tell you, anytime I saw 14 Cody Latimer in the game, I'd be thinking, who is he coming in here to block in the slot right now?
Look for a moment there at Anthony Walker, 50. He's in for Bostic at linebacker. Osweiler taking a shot at the end zone, and Latimer caught it for the touchdown.
Pulled down.
Cody Latimer, 22 yards, former Hoosier.
We're even against DJ White, who's in as a substitute here. But I love this, Mike. I just love this. When a guy makes a big block for his teammates, springs a run, and you come right back to him, throw him a touchdown pass. Now that's payoff. That's what it's supposed to be. And how about Brock Osweiler? He is just created that ball was even hit there by DJ White, and Latimer able to hang on.
McManus for the lead, and Denver has come back after being down 10-0 to take the lead. Cody Latimer played at Indiana, comes back to Indianapolis, gets a touchdown from Osweiler. Looks fun on Monday. Ellen DeGeneres, famous for those games, supersized and coming to prime time in the biggest game show on TV. Ellen's game special preview Monday after the Voice finale on NBC. It's a big night Monday night.
She is hilarious.
Makes you laugh all the time. Colts had a halftime lead. It's gone. That's been part of the story of their season. No return on the McManus kickoff. It's a touchback. And Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. Save the quarterbacks from hits. That's what they need to do here in Indianapolis. Last year, every year lately, it's been different combos. 12 more than any other team, and Andrew Luck taking the brunt of it. Those 41 sacks, second in the league. Jacoby Brissett, 48 sacks right now, first in the league. They'd be the second team to allow two different quarterbacks to be the most or the second most sacked in consecutive seasons. Broncos fans of a certain age remember 40 years ago and the struggles Denver was having. It's been hard for Brissett. Pass down the sideline for Josh Ferguson. Reserve running back is incomplete. I mentioned they've got to do a major rebuild here. Chris Ballard was hired in January to replace Ryan Grigson as the general manager. He comes from Kansas City, does Ballard. He was the player personnel guy, director of football operations the last 4 years. He was a scout for the Bears with Jerry Angelo for a long time. And Chris, there are a lot of things they've got to figure out, including what's going on with Andrew Luck. And just to update everyone, we talked to Chuck Pagano. Chuck got an email from Andrew Luck, who's been over in Europe doing rehab, getting his treatment to try to come back and be ready off the shoulder surgery that he had before the season, back in January. Second and 10%'s got nothing open here, and it's incomplete for T.Y. Hilton. It'll bring up third down. So Luck has the surgery in January. No OTAs, no minicamp. They hope he's going to come back. They put him on PUP. And then he practices twice with the team, and the soreness is back. So he's got to get this shoulder figured out. He goes overseas to Europe, where his trainer has done some work. And we've seen people go to Europe, like Peyton Manning.
Big names.
Like Kobe Bryant in basketball, like A-Rod in baseball, to get treatments that aren't available here in the U.S. Look, this is the face of the franchise. So they want to know, is Luck going to be okay next year? The good news is he's supposed to be back in the building for the Colts coming up next week. Brissett's pass is incomplete, too tall for Chester Rogers. And after the touchdown, it's a 3-and-out for the Denver defense.
You know, the thing that impressed me the most about that was, A, they thought he was going to have to do all these sort of treatments over there that apparently, or at least they're telling us, may not have had to happen. But the big issue was that the strength in that shoulder, he had altered fundamentally the way he threw the football. He wasn't taking the ball back as far, and the pain kept getting worse, and even when he came back, so he really had to go retrain himself on how to throw the football, rehab that shoulder, get the flexibility back in there.
5-yard penalty.
So we were looking back at some of his throws from 2014. There it is, reaching back and making the throw, and you'll see 2016, not quite that same extension. You put the tracer on it, and look how much farther back that is than that, right? I should extend it a little bit, make it official. But, you know, so you see that just like a baseball pitcher, you know, they rear back, you know, Nolan Ryan, those guys, then they're going to throw it. And the same thing applies to quarterbacks, too.
They start compensating.
Yeah.
48-yard kick by Sanchez, fair caught at the 32-yard line by Jordan Taylor. Denver took the lead, and they'll take over after this. Oh, Brock Osweiler, good numbers as he's coming. If you're just joining us, Trevor Siemian injured his left shoulder, out for the rest of the game. So Osweiler, who started against Philadelphia, New England, and Cincinnati, not exactly two easy starts those first couple, and then was benched for Paxton Lynch. He's back in charge here, and he's put Denver on top. C.J. Anderson with a good first down run out to the 44-yard line. And Chris, the enthusiasm that we're seeing, it's kind of a good story of a guy getting that chance one more time and feeling it.
Yeah, and it's not just the offense that's feeling it now, because defensively, watch this coming over after that touchdown pass. He grabs Bradley Roby, the defensive back, and said, there you go. Now you've got the lead back. You guys go out there and do your thing now. Because sometimes, and we talked about it earlier, when offenses and defenses pass and one side's playing great and the other's not, it can get ugly out there. It really can. It can divide locker rooms. It can do all those things. Losing is hard. I mean, it is hard. And when one side of the ball is great and the other one is struggling, it makes it even harder. Look at his smiles. We got Chris Harris Jr. He's smiling over there. Keep Talib, that's as close as he comes to a smile.
It's a Denver defense, if you weren't with us at the top. Chris told you. Giving up the fewest yards per game in the league, but many more points than you would expect for those numbers. Shot down the middle! Caught by Jeff Hireman, the tight end! And he's in for the touchdown! What a throw you saw by Osweiler. 54 yards.
Watch the safety drift this way, which is going to leave one-on-one coverage on the back side of it. You have three receivers out to the right, and then Hireman just one-on-one right down the center of the field and makes a heck of a move. Watch Osweiler move the safety that way even more, then snap his head back. You know he hasn't been practicing. Quarterbacks, when you're a backup quarterback, you don't get any practice snaps. So he just had that one from memory, and he remembered how to do this. Go down and have a little party. He'll probably go over and talk to Talib this time.
And I like when coaches do this up 7, try to make it a 2-score game instead of 1, but they have to take the time out as the play clock was running down. So scratch the perfection of that thought. 2:37 to go. For Hireman, the tight end, second career touchdown. It must be you, Collinsworth. He had his first one on Sunday Night Football against the Giants. So when you're in the house, start Hireman in your fantasy game. But the 54-yard catch by 23 yards, the longest of his brief career.
I'll start leaving a tip jar. Look at him. When he snaps his head back, he just fired a bullet over the top of Matthias Farley, but that was something. And from the first throw that he made tonight, we have seen Osweiler play like he just doesn't care. You know?
And what do we always hear? Prepare, be ready, be ready. That's a short week. You're not going to play. Prepare. And he came out from the second he walked between those lines ready to go tonight.
But be loose. Have some fun. Bring some energy to that hunt.
Trying to make it a 9-point lead. Latimer. Or did the hand come down first? He's ruled a touchdown. Or a 2-point conversion, I should say. It's 22-13 as Latimer went up to get it. I said that hand came down. I want to see if that came down on the white before a body part got down.
Let's see. He gets one foot down for sure. Does that other foot snap before the hand hits? Ooh, that is close.
What do we got here?
Oh. You know, they've got the toe-heel thing. Do they have the finger-palm thing, too? I mean, I'm serious. I don't know. Because if your toe hits and then your heel drops to the ground, you're out of bounds. I don't know if finger palm works that way because the fingers were in bounds, but the palm landed out of bounds and before the foot got down.
I think it's going to be hard to flip that.
There's the palm, but the fingers hit first.
You know what's incredible? How many weeks do you go through, and every week it's something new and different? Finger palm, I've never even thought about that in relation to toe, but in relation to toe heel, like you said.
It never happens. I mean, when does it matter that your fingers hit and then the palm hits?
After you, the ruling on the field stands.
There you go.
Good.
And Latimer comes down with the 2, and again, it's one of those things. You're being a little more aggressive. You're a 4-9 team here. But instead of kicking the extra point, keeping it a 1-possession game, go for 2. Try to make it a 2-score game. And they do that with Hireman in the touchdown and the 2 for Cody Latimer.
Yeah, how about Cody Latimer? He came in, he got his chance to play in this game because he was blocking so well, and then all of a sudden they started throwing him the football. You find out a lot about people, Mike. I'm just saying, you find there are a lot more people in the training room, a lot more people in that hot tub and getting ice baths and all that stuff. And Coach, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to play this week. And then there's a few Cody Latimers out there and Brock Osweilers that can't wait to get on the field, and they bring some energy to the team.
Opportunity, 2 touchdowns in 99 seconds for the Broncos. And Indy will take over at the 25 with Jacoby Brissett. Chris, you mentioned in New England, understudy for Tom Brady the last year plus. So of course, you want to be like Brady, right? Well, let's check out all the mannerisms here. Got the glove, just like Tom, right?
Yep.
Got the thing on the wrist there. Check out what's going on. Coming the hand warmer when needed. Right?
Yep.
Towel. Pretty similar placement on the towel. Sleeves match too here.
Oh, stop it! The whole thing.
Pretty much where we stop for the moment, but he doesn't have his own line of pajamas. You know, Tom's got those TB12 pajamas. There aren't JB7 pajamas just yet. But why not? Like you said, if you're going to be around the best, do the things that make them good, or at least approach the game the same way. Frank Gore with the carry.
There's one more here, this right foot back thing. Tom Brady now puts that right foot back. We see several quarterbacks, so he can just take a 2-step drop and throw the ball instead of a 3-step drop, so why not? Watch Tom Brady go up and down the field, win Super Bowls and MVPs, and let me try that too.
And that's not what he was doing at NC State. He started doing that when he got to New England. That's the way they taught it. That's the way he's doing it now. His pass is complete to the side to T.Y. Hilton. That's a first down across the 35 to the 36.
Well, Brock Osweiler and Trevor Siemian had a little benefit of a mentor as well, right? Peyton Manning able to train some of those guys too. So why not? You get some of the greatest players in the history of the game and watch how they prepare. And really, that's exactly what we were talking with Jacoby Brissett. He said, what did you take away most from Tom Brady? He said, that's easy, the way he prepares. He just makes sure he knows as much as humanly possible.
Brissett scanning the field here, waiting for somebody to come along with him, and he'll just throw it out of bounds to the sideline. Shane Ray was bringing the heat.
Let me give one critique, all right, for Jacoby Brissett, and I think he has a bright future. I really do. If there's anything I would say about him is these are some of the balls he needs to get out of his hand. He tends to scramble to the right. The defenses that we've talked to that are playing it, they know it. He had great success at NC State doing all that kind of stuff, but his time to release is one of the slower ones in the National Football League, and I think he could take some of those hits off of him if he would just be a little quicker.
Delay with Gore up the middle. Frank with a 4-yard run just over the 40-yard line. Chris, is that reading stuff quick just to get the ball out, or is it know when your journey's over and don't try to make a home run on a bad outside pitch, if you will?
They call them dead plays, and there are times when it's just over, and you have to understand that it's really important as the quarterback to not take 48 sacks during the course of a season, because you have to survive. You're the guy that's running the show out there, and it's huge momentum shifts when your quarterback goes down. But I really do think he has a lot in his repertoire. I think he's going to be a real player.
3rd and 5. He keeps this play alive. Eludes 3 Broncos. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and Von Miller didn't stop working on that one. He had 2 shots at him, and in the second one, he finally got him to force the punt.
Von Miller makes 27 moves on this play. Watch this one. Here's one. Then move inside. Got him once. Tried to kick him there. That didn't work. Did a split that got a good grade in the Olympics. Then he's going to chase him back across the other side of the field and get the tackle. That's a lot of work for one play.
And there you see Robert Mathis, who for so many years was that 3rd down eraser on the opposite side of Dwight Freeney for Indianapolis. He's now a pass rush consultant with the Colts.
Not a bad one either.
4th quarter coming up. Denver scored 15 in that one to take an 8-point lead. Von Miller, he was not credited with a sack. A sack was credited on that last play, but was given to Bradley Roby. So Miller's sack counter remains at 10. It's the first sack the Colts have given up all year. My mistake going to break. The lead is 9, not 8. And you watch those guys go cover the punt from a high sky camera. Rigoberto Sanchez kicked it, and Taylor muffed it. He had called for a fair catch, so he knows he can't advance it, but he gets back on the ball inside the 20 at the 16-yard line. Fourth quarter here in Indianapolis, and our aerial coverage is provided by Geico. Cool holiday lights outlining the diamond over at Victory Field here in downtown, the home of the Pirates AAA team. And as we see a little baseball image on this cold December night, we all send a great congratulations to our friend Bob Costas. On Wednesday announced that he won the Ford C. Frick Award that's presented by the Baseball Hall of Fame for broadcasting excellence, and he will join the greats in Cooperstown. None better. And congratulations to Bob.
Is that like making a hole-in-one? Do you have to buy drinks for everybody once you get that?
I think you've just thrown that out there.
I think it's a good concept. I really do.
C.J. Anderson runs on this first down and take it out to the 23-yard line. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Mike, some issues at linebacker for the Colts. Let's start with John Bostic. He was just fit for a knee brace on his right knee. He's been testing it, backpedaling, shuttling side to side. The Colts are calling his status unknown. As for Jeremiah George, he was in the tent with UNC, that neurotrauma consultant, then had a neck evaluation, and Mike, he will not return.
That has been the story of this year, Heather, for Chuck Pagano and the Colts. His line, so what, now what? Everything that can happen has happened to this team. C.J. Anderson keeping the legs going. Chris told you he's tough to tackle. Into the secondary to the 32 at a first down.
Yeah, and it's especially tough when you end up having to play your backup linebacker in the game. And it's just watch these two linebackers. They look like they're going to end up just being able to take care of this, no problem. But there's the pyramid taking off running. I mean, he really has just been fantastic. Coming back from that knee injury, it happened early enough in the season where he could bounce back. And he's a lot of fun. They have good backs on this team. They really do. Good quarterback now, too.
That's why they're playing well tonight. Devontae Booker runs it to the 38-yard line. Pick up a 5 again, or 6 if you're just joining us. We're showing a lot of the game from Skycam here tonight, which, if you go back to that Falcons-Patriots matchup in Foxborough, became really necessity, the mother of the invention. Show the game from Skycam because it was so foggy, and we're showing you the majority of the game from there. And the gamers who play Madden, that's the view you get, so you understand it. But it takes you as close to the field, really on top of it as you can, and you get an idea for the physical and mental brilliance of the players every single play. Saw Booker's shoulders raise up, and it'll cost him 5.
False start, offense number 23. 5-yard penalty, second down.
You did it for years, Chris. I marvel at, especially the way the game is played at the line of scrimmage so much. All this mental gymnastics, and at that snap, you have to turn the switch to this physical brutality and winning against the fellow man who's just as strong.
Well, and the game has changed over the years. I was lucky enough to play with Boomer Esiason and Sam Weich, and we basically developed a foreign language at the line of scrimmage. And eventually the defenses had to learn how to react to that.
Anderson the run. Flag down.
And so what happened?
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, offense number 82. 15-yard penalty, second down.
And so what happened ultimately, the quarterbacks had the speakers in their helmet and the coach could communicate things with them. And so the defense said, well, wait a minute, now we should have that same right. Then they got the communication. And so now these coaches for 15 seconds can coach the middle linebacker and the quarterback. But no matter how brilliant a play caller you are on the sideline, there's no way you could anticipate what that quarterback is going to see from the defense or what that linebacker is going to see from the formations and the motions. And so much of this game now is a last-second check at the line of scrimmage. Quarterback checks, linebacker checks, quarterback might check back, and it's just that fast out there right now.
You saw the movement there.
False start, offense number 60. 5-yard penalty, second down.
On McGovern, and Denver is sloppy here the last couple of plays. You saw the green dot on the back of Antonio Morrison, the linebacker for Indianapolis. The quarterbacks have the green dot on the back of their helmet. Those are the ones who can receive the radio communication directly from the sideline or from up in the coach's box, which they've changed as we were talking about how the game has changed, it was interesting. We had to remind ourselves the offensive communication system has been there since '94. The defenses didn't get it till 2008. They were always complaining about it. It took 14 years of complaining to get the equality. Anderson, the carry there, stopped by Morrison.
Yeah, I kind of laughed when Keith Butler used to say in Pittsburgh that they've got the communication, but he has a deep southern drawl, and sometimes his linebackers have a tough time figuring it out. But it really is. It's an amazing game now, and the centers are as much a part of the community. The centers are reading the safeties down the field now. I mean, it's amazing how far the game has advanced.
3rd and 21 with a 2-score lead. Just going to run it here. Booker got pulled down, perhaps illegally, by Morrison. Is that a face mask? Let's see.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask. Defense number 44.
Oh, that's a bad
15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's a really bad penalty.
On 3rd and 21.
No, that's bad. That's not good at all. Let's see if it actually happened. Yep. Only one thing. You know, the other thing that we learned this week is that there's a phrase called earmuffs.
Right.
I never heard this before. So if it's 3rd down and less than 5, the call goes out earmuffs.
Right.
So that you know, don't listen to the hard count, don't jump offside and give them an automatic first down. Now they're going to start calling out face mask, and don't grab the face mask on 3rd and a million.
Anderson runs to the left. Marcus Hunt the tackle. Gain of 2 yards there as we have 10:50 left in this fourth quarter. Denver trying to win back-to-back games after the 8-game slide. Indianapolis trying to avoid yet another loss. Well, they've had halftime leads, these Colts. You think about it, 6 times in these 10 losses, they've had a halftime lead. And same story here tonight, up 10-7. Denver outscores them 15-3 in the 3rd. And they're pushing on one of the roughest seasons in the history of the league for getting half the job done. Anderson. Inside for a couple.
It's really interesting. They're playing to their defense now because Brock Osweiler was smoking. It's like, why do you stop throwing the football now? He just was unstoppable coming in. 11 for 15, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, 151 rating. Is like everything he did was just working. But when you have a defense, this is what the Broncos used to be able to do. Get a lead, run the football, bleed that clock down, now throw it when you have to, and complete a big 3rd down pass. Keep it alive.
He's coming with that confidence, looking off those safeties, firing the ball to the open receiver. Here he is, 3rd and 6, had to make a throw, and he did to Latimer, who's having a fabulous night here. First down to the 37-yard line. Cody Latimer, 3rd catch on the evening.
This is the same exact play that Trevor Siemian threw the interception on to begin the game. So here he is going across the field here, Cody Latimer. But again, you have a big receiver. Let him go up and make a play. And there's DJ White, really had no idea where the ball was, didn't get his head around, but what a night for Cody Latimer. I know Cody Latimer hopes our ratings are really high tonight, so everybody gets to see this.
Bleed! On my eyes!
From the 37, and is Anderson for the 22nd time tonight. He's over 100 rushing yards, 116 for C.J. Anderson.
How about Brock Osweiler? You know, the one thing that he told us that I found really interesting, and we said, oh, how was it going to Cleveland? They traded, for the contract and the whole thing.
Sure.
He said, it was great. He said, Hugh Jackson up there is a guy that is just teaches fundamentals, and I really felt like my fundamentals had gotten away from me a little bit in Houston, and it really served me really well. He was having some trouble missing the ball high, and I think Hugh Jackson fixed some of it because I'm not seeing it here tonight.
And that's some of the things they talk about. Hugh Jackson's record in 2 years here is 1-28, could be 1-31 if the Browns lose the rest of their games. But they're at least talking about from the ownership side as the new GM was brought in to keep him as the head coach next year. We'll see if that transpires through the year, but you've always heard good things about Hugh Jackson, and we've seen it working with offenses, Raiders, Cincinnati, among others.
I wouldn't mind coaching Cleveland. They got a lot of picks coming up and a lot of cash. This is a team, they've been building slowly. Don't be surprised that thing gets turned around pretty quickly.
I think you can fit it right in with Thursday and Sunday nights. 3rd and 4. Anderson, you saw confusion with the Colts as they were trying to get lined up. They couldn't get lined up. The Broncos beat them. 1st down halfway through this 4th quarter.
Well, and one of the problems you have is with John Bostic out of the lineup at middle linebacker. Remember all the communication we were talking about? And you can see there that they're trying to make adjustments and get guys back in the right spot, but it just is not happening because their quarterback, if you will, is out of the game. So the quarterback for the Broncos out, and the quarterbacks for the Colts defense out as well.
And the guy was running around in the wrong spot, 37, DJ White. First time he's playing significant defensive snaps. 1st down, Devontae Booker time now. Good tackle in the open field by Quincy Wilson, the rookie. Limits the gain. It's 3. Here's Heather.
An update on Broncos wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders in the first half had his right foot spatted. He continued to play with a limp. Now he is on the sideline. He's been testing it back and forth. He has been officially ruled out with a right ankle injury. And Mike, just a reminder, in week 6 he had a right ankle sprain and missed the following 2 games.
Yeah, that slowed him and really got that roll going where he could not get those normal Emmanuel Sanders games that we've become so used to going. They went to him often here tonight. 7 catches and 68 yards, but limited by the injury. All right, textbook drive when you're up 9. They're taking 10 minutes off the clock here. They're still in field goal range, of course, as we dive under 6 minutes left. You said it before, Chris, that template for what you can do with pass rushers and corners, which means you've got a good defense. And the kind of play Osweiler's given them tonight, if this happens earlier in the year, they're not losing 8 straight games, and they're not in this hole.
No, they're not, but he wasn't making throws like this either when he got his opportunity. So, you know, this is...
They're playing the Colts. They're playing a bad team, too.
But this is also... This is a big game for Brock Osweiler. I mean, he's trying to impress people. Who knows? They might draft in the 1st round a quarterback. They might sign Kirk Cousins. You don't know what's going to happen.
3rd and 8 here. Osweiler scrambles. Throws sideline, caught by Anderson. It'll be, see, he was out of bounds. First to touch, his foot must hit the sideline. So they'll wipe this one out. Looks like we'll get to 4th down.
Illegally touching the pass. Offense number 22. Stepped out of bounds, came back in, and was first to touch the pass. The penalty is loss of down at the previous spot. 4th down.
Anderson said, my bad, but he's had real good tonight. 24 carries, 127 yards. The second 100-yard rushing game for the Broncos. He's had it.
Yep, now a big field goal here and makes it awfully tough. You knock this one through.
Take it up 12 if they can do it. McManus, who missed 5 field goals each of the past 2 seasons, missed a short one against the Jets, a 29-yarder, had a miss earlier tonight from 40. This one from 40 is perfect. Up a dozen. Denver in Indy. Tonight football brought to you by Volkswagen, winning duos. We're talking about here. We're talking about the duo at the top of the AFC playoff picture. Pittsburgh, which has clinched its spot. The New England loss Monday night against Miami changes a lot. And we're talking about winning duos here. Don't forget Volkswagen. Don't forget Jacksonville. Don't forget Jacksonville at 9-4. Chris, they're very much in the picture to get a number 2 seed in the AFC, depending how things play out over the last 3 weeks.
We have had more than a few people tell us over the past few weeks, be careful with Jacksonville. That team and the way they play defense, be careful.
Hey, let me remind you, stay tuned for the Volkswagen SUVW postgame report coming up after tonight's game.
He loved it.
Coming up later tonight on NFL Network, it's the Mazda postgame show. Amber Theo Harris, Reggie Wayne, Colts great, Steve Smith Sr., Michael Irvin. Break it down, talk to one of the stars of tonight's game on the set. About 5 minutes left. Jacoby Brissett tried to engineer. They need 2 scores. That first one for Jack Doyle was incomplete.
Well, Jack Doyle's kind of a local hero, isn't he, from this area? And He's a hero amongst these coaches, too. He does whatever needed. He's probably their second best run blocker up front behind Anthony Costanzo. Catches the ball, plays fullback, lead blocker. He doesn't care. You just give him something to do, and he does it pretty well.
Undrafted, leads the team in receptions. Add another one to that. His 4th on the night, 68th on the season. Clock runs under 5.
But it's been a bit of a mess this year for this offensive line, and that's what's so tough. The left side has stayed intact, but from the center over to the right, there has been nothing but constant movement this entire season. Hard to rebuild like that.
3rd and 6. Brissett flushed by Shelby. Harris's pressure, and on the run to Doyle one more time. Brings it in. Broncos sideline was trying to say no. They'll move the chains. First down, Indianapolis.
Well, you're going to see he'll get a little chip on Von Miller. That helps his quarterback. Now a scramble against Will Parks. Sten, make the catch. Get your toes down. Let's see whether or not. Yeah, kicked up some of those pellets.
White 20, white. 4:35 to go. You see what Brissett sees. That was tried to be scooped off the ground by Kamar Aiken, but ruled that it skidded first. Incomplete. 2nd down. Some great corners here. The no-fly zone, they call them, Chris.
You can pretty much count on the fact that there's not going to be a whole lot of action, or at least a whole lot of production against those two guys. They have been two of the best for a long time now, and I make the argument that this is Bradley Roby's best year of his career, number 29. So when you have 3 shutdown corners on the back end, a lot of things make sense. You can bring a lot of pressure. You can have these 2 inside linebackers lining up right there and then dropping out late.
It was Harris blitzing that time and scanning the field. Brissett kept that alive to Doyle to the 40. 3rd and 6 coming up with 4:15 in the hurry-up. Broncos getting subs in and out. Ball's not spotted yet, so they can get settled. Doyle again. Let's see, he looked to be short with the ball. He was, marking a yard short of the first down, so it's 4th and 1 here at the 45. 3:59 left, down 2 scores. You're 3-10.
It's interesting. Going to the ground, but he took 2 steps first, so I think they're going to give him credit for that catch, rightfully so. Yep, that's where that ball crossed the line.
It's where it crossed that sideline. The official ran right in there. It looked to be a little bit farther ahead of where it was spotted in the 45. 4th and 1, Colts will go for it here. And Brissett over the middle, incomplete. Trying to get it to Chester Rogers. A tough time holding on to the ball this year. Turn it over on downs. Turn it back to the Broncos. Mitchell Trubisky played well against Cincinnati. We'll see how he does in Detroit against Matthew Stafford and the Lions. It's an NFL Network special Saturday night. And then Phillip Rivers and the Los Angeles Chargers take on Kansas City. First place in the AFC West on the line. Doubleheader NFL Network. A Saturday special for you. 4:30 Eastern Time. Our first kickoff from downtown Detroit. Kurt Warner will join me on that broadcast. Look forward to hearing the Hall of Famer. CJ Anderson, the carry there. 3:50 to go. Indianapolis takes a quick timeout, and we will do the same. Holds up. This is going to feel good for Brock Osweiler. I get that little side note to history. First substitute quarterback in Broncos history. 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run in a game. Great digging up that fact. But just to get a win. You're going to walk off the field. You've taken your team, if this holds on, to a victory. Good run. C.J. Anderson having a huge night and adding to it 145 yards. Well, as we mentioned, these 2 teams eliminated. Bunch of playoff teams with big games, including the Green Bay Packers, who get Aaron Rodgers back. He missed 6 full games, won the last couple to gain some momentum, and they've given them a chance, albeit a long shot, giving them a chance at Rodgers coming back.
X factor, right? I mean, we've seen them before just get in the playoffs and Aaron gets hot and all of a sudden here you go. But if somehow the Green Bay Packers find their way into this playoff system, it's a different sort of playoffs at that point.
7-6, bunch of teams back there, a game behind Atlanta for the final spot. Anderson, another run here. Rodgers getting ready for his return against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday.
And that won't be easy with the pass rush they have. And then you turn right around with the Minnesota Vikings, and you got to face the team that knocked you out.
Here's what Aaron said yesterday after that first full practice back.
I feel confident I'll be able to go out there and play the way I've always played, but I've been off for 7 games and been out for a while. Hopefully it gives a lift to some of the guys, but I'm not coming back to save this team. I'm coming back to play quarterback the way I know how to play it, and hopefully we all raise the level of our play collectively and find a way to win these 3 games.
That's what we're going to have to do at Carolina, then Minnesota, like you mentioned, on NBC the Saturday before Christmas, the 23rd, and then they close like they did last year at Ford Field on New Year's Eve. Now, they're going to need some help, but if they get to 8 and they get to 9, which is going to be hard, can you imagine Rodgers back in the mix with a game to win to maybe get in the playoffs in Detroit where he has been terrific?
Boy, if they can pull it off in Carolina and set up that rematch against Minnesota, that place is going crazy.
2nd and 4, Anderson to carry. 3rd highest rushing game for Anderson, 151 yards. So one of 3 mega games on that Sunday slate. Another one late afternoon, Patriots going to Pittsburgh. What'd you see, Chris, with that Patriots loss in Miami that has changed the tone of this game a little bit?
It really did, because, you just look at the Patriots and they just go up and down the field. Then without Gronkowski, you could tell the difference that he made not being in there. That all of a sudden now those wide receivers are getting paid a little more attention. They weren't getting open against the one-on-one coverage down the field, but we don't often see Tom Brady play 2 in a row like that, but you're talking about the game. I mean, this really is, unless something strange happens down the stretch, for home field advantage. And if Pittsburgh has home field, you got to kind of like them. If New England has home field, you got to kind of like them. And whoever wins the game has the tiebreaker between those 2.
This is 3rd and 4, and Anderson's going to get it and get some more to the 13-yard line, capping off this sensational evening, 159 yards.
I have to give a little bit of a tip of the cap, if I could, to this offensive line for the Denver Broncos. They simply tonight have had the ability to take over at times, and we have seen one running back after another in behind those guys, and maybe led tonight a little bit by Connor McGovern coming in at that right guard position and just moving some people on those inside zone plays. Nice job tonight by this offensive line.
This is the kind of football they need to play after that first drive with the turnover. They'll lose a couple of yards there, but in this second half, Denver has 254 yards to just 90 for Indianapolis, as the Broncos are on their way to back-to-back wins after the 8-game slide. 2-minute warning here in Indianapolis, and the Broncos leading by a dozen. 25-13 Denver. Reminder, the Volkswagen postgame is coming up. Heather will talk to the star of the game, and we will wrap this one up. Take a peek ahead to Sunday. Raiders and Cowboys, NBC Sunday Night Football, as we wrap up the Thursday portion of the schedule. Thanks to everyone who worked on our Thursday night crew, of course, led by the guys who lead you on Sunday, Fred Godelli, Drew Esikoff. Tremendous team.
They'll go back and introduce themselves to their families.
You guys have all worked these Thursdays and Sundays. It's terrific. Pleasure for all of us to be a part of it. Devontae Booker with the run here. Colts cannot stop it. And Chris, you talk about this offense for Denver. It's been a good show today, and it's really been a reminder. They've pieced this thing back together late in the season.
Yeah, and let's give some credit to Bill Musgrave. He has come in and took over as the offensive coordinator for Mike McCoy, and he doesn't even have his system in. He's still running McCoy's system and those plays, but he really simplified things. He sort of brought them back in a little bit more of the running game, tried to focus in on just doing things a little bit more, easier, I guess is what it is. Let's just keep it easy and keep our quarterbacks doing something they fully understand. And, he was fired from the Oakland Raiders. Basically, Todd Downing was the guy, the offensive coordinator, that he was getting offers from other places, and the Raiders, Jack Del Rio, wanted to keep him. And so here was a guy that really did a great job with the Raiders. You have to say what Derek Carr and that offense did a season ago. If Derek Carr doesn't get hurt, who knows what the Raiders would have done in the playoffs, right?
Absolutely.
And so here he comes, and now getting an opportunity here, and you wonder if he's a little bit of the X factor now for John Elway. You know, and what are they going to do at the quarterback? But certainly they have a guy in-house that knows how to take a young quarterback and develop him.
Did it in Oakland. He was in Minnesota before that. He's been a coordinator in Carolina, Jacksonville.
Worked with Matty Ice.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Those are just his coordinator jobs, let alone the quarterback, like you pointed out when he was with Atlanta. He's kept this offense manageable for this team, and you've seen the results of the last 2 weeks. Heather?
Mike, it's really cool to see what these teams do in their communities during the holidays. Last week, Chris Harris Jr. and teammates decorated cookies with kids at the Denver Rescue Mission holiday party. Harris attends this event every year, and he brings his family along too. And the Colts, they teamed up with Cold Feet, warm shoes, and hats to help fit almost 500 needy children with new shoes and warm hats for winter. And Mike Jabal-Sheard told me he loves when he can put a smile on a kid's face, especially during the holidays.
It's so cool. It's this community, it's Denver, it's all over the country. How NFL players and organizations do that. 4th and 10, not going to risk a field goal here. They'll just run it with Booker. He'll be stopped, and the Colts will take over on downs with 27 seconds left. And this Denver offense will leave with a job well done tonight. 462 yards to support the defense. Look at the smile on Von Miller.
Yeah, and watch them pass their offensive players and teammates now. Little high fives, little smiles, little thumbs up, a little way to go, guys. And because they've been waiting for that kind of explosion on the offensive side for quite some time. And Von Miller, the coach said, "Are you serious? Not going out there in 27 seconds."
Well, he had another chance for a fourth quarter sack.
Yeah,
he's the all-time fourth quarter sack guy the last few years in the league. And Indianapolis is going to call the dogs off too. They'll take a knee, and the Colts will drop to 3-11 with games on NFL Network against Baltimore next week on Saturday. And they'll close their home season New Year's Eve here against Houston. As Chuck Pagano's uncertain future will be discussed a lot in this market. Great man. Chuck Pagano's a wonderful person. First losing season in his 6th for the Colts. Meantime, the Broncos will move to 5-9. They go to Washington before Christmas and host Kansas City. Who knows if the Chiefs are going to need that one on New Year's Eve. And you know when it's Broncos and Chiefs, it's always special. Our final here tonight, 25-13. Denver, the Volkswagen postgame report coming up on Thursday Night Football.